We are back. And, Bill, you actually picked a good movie for us to watch.
Somebody was talking about it on Squared Circle Reddit, and I thought I should look into this because of the cameos and also just because it's supposed to be a good movie.
The Peanut Butter Falcon.
The Peanut Butter Falcon. This is written by Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz, directed by those two as well, and stars Shia LaBeouf and Dakota Johnson. As we started to say at the end of the last episode, Shia LaBeouf's a really good actor.
He is awesome.
Sam Witwicky.
He is so good in this.
Sam Witwicky.
He's terrible in other stuff.
Was that Optimus Prime talking to Sam Witwicky? Is that the impression you just did?
Sam Witwicky. That's right, Optimus Prime.
Is it weird that I know that?
What do you know, Optimus Prime? You're talking. It's our fifth member, Optimus Prime.
Oh, okay, he's here. Oh, you have to give one of those big speeches. Well, Earth is saved, but you never know who's going to come and threaten it.
And the other person in this movie is Zach. I can't pronounce the name. Gottsigan. I know that's wrong.
Yeah, his last name.
He is very good.
But he's an actor with Down syndrome.
He is awesome in this movie. He is so good. It's this movie.
He made me laugh out loud and then brought me to tears.
He was very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Truly excellent.
It's so good. Not that I wasn't I'm just like, oh, wow, this guy's awesome. He's so good. Why isn't he in other movies? Maybe he is. I don't know.
He's been in other stuff. I don't know what specifically, but yeah, so it's about, and it's a movie that's about a kid with Down syndrome who wants to be a wrestler.
Well, he's 22
right.
in the movie, so I mean, not really
but
not a kid, right?
He has no family, or no family that wants to take care of him,
right?
And know where to go. So he's been sent to old folks home, basically.
Yeah. So we meet him. He's living in like a retirement home, basically,
even though he's 22.
Yes,
and because he's got nowhere else to go.
Right.
This is where he's been assigned by the state.
Yes.
So we see him in a lunchroom, and he gets a thing of pudding, and he gives it to our first friend, Rosemary.
This is great.
With a picture that shows like her getting
her having a fake
pudding, and then him running out.
Yeah.
So she says like, okay, and she takes the pudding.
There's pudding ? Him door.
Yeah,
that was the note.
And she understood.
Yeah.
So she takes the pudding and then starts to choke on it, and everyone comes over to make sure she's okay. And he busts out the door, gets about 25 feet, and gets just blindsided by an orderly.
Spared by
just
Goldberg.
Destroyed.
But the look on his face, he's so determined. Oh, man, it's so good.
And we briefly meet Eleanor, the woman who's in charge of taking care of him.
Yeah.
We then go to Shia LaBeouf, Tyler, cruising around on an old beat-up boat, collecting some
Where
crabs.
does this take place? South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Really?
And aren't they in the
they
Outer
make
Banks?
it all the way to the Florida.
Well, aren't they, when they're cruising down the coast, isn't that the Outer Banks?
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Probably.
They're in the Carolinas. The Greater Carolinas.
All right. I would assume south then, because it only takes them a couple days to get down to Florida.
Well, I forget
Well, we don't know how long it takes them to get there.
where they have to get to, where they're trying to go to the wrestling school, too. It's like in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
I forget which town.
It's on the way. Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's where they go first.
You're right. It's North Carolina.
Oh, I'm just seeing this here. This earned $20 million and made it the highest grossing independent film of the year last year.
Wow.
This is made in 2019, right?
Yes.
The problem with Eden, Carolina is it's nowhere near where it was depicted in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we meet Tyler out in just collecting crab, but he also is like cutting up other lines and like he's sabotaging something. And he sees the police and decides maybe I don't want to go that way. And you see him like turn around and speed away. So then we go back into the retirement home, and Zach is in roommate with Carl,
Brewster,
who's awesome, and he's blowing on a VHS tape as though it were a Nintendo video game.
Yes.
Puts it in, and we get to see. Well, I can't remember the wrestler's name now.
Sugar.
Nope.
Saltwater redneck.
Saltwater Redneck.
SWR.
Yep.
Saltwater Redneck.
Who does his throw. His big move is a throw, And then he like cuts a quick promo that says like, "Come down to my wrestling school and I'll teach you how to do this stuff."
And this was in the 80s, early 90s.
At early 90s, if
Yeah,
not
So an
earlier.
old tape, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and Carl's like, "We've watched this 10 times today. Like, why are we not mad at him? He's just like, why do we keep watching this?" Carl is his roommate, who is an elderly man living in the old
Yeah.
folks' home.
Mhm.
Right.
So the social worker,
Elizabeth.
Eleanor,
Eleanor. Yeah.
comes in and says, "Why would you do that? Now you are in trouble. So is Rosemary, and now I have to label you as a flight risk. Like, I don't want to do this, but I have to. You ran away twice." And he's just like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care."
He's old. I'm young. Why am I here?
You
Yeah.
make a good point.
And that's where she fills in. She says, "There's nowhere else for you to go. So I know you don't want to be here, but this is where you have to be." So,
Oh, she's that 50 Shades of Grey lady.
Yes.
yes.
She's
okay.
the...
Dakota Johnson, the daughter of Antonio Banderas and Melanie Griffin.
Is she really?
Didn't know
Melanie,
that at all.
I believe.
Really?
Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith.
No, she's
Oh,
Don
Don Johnson.
Yeah.
Don Johnson.
I was gonna say Antonio
Banderas!
Well, Antonio Banderas and Melanie Griffith.
Maybe they are
Really?
now.
They weren't they a thing?
I don't
I
know,
have
but I was
no
going to say,
idea.
wasn't it Miami? Isn't she Miami Vice's daughter? Not Antonio Banderas.
So,
Sorry.
later that night, Carl
We need to
said-
play Mike moving in. Antonio Banderas to Don Johnson. Go.
I think that's fair.
No, I can't. No, not right
Can't do it.
Not right now. No, fuck it. Give him time. Maybe off air he'll try it. But
now. Yeah. Okay. So she was married to Antonio Banderas from 1996 to 2015.
Griffith
Yes.
Ah.
And Don Johnson
before then, because obviously.
from 76 to 76, then 89 to 96. So.
Oh,
All right, so the second one went a little longer.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is he going to do Mike's movie game?
I'm waiting to see.
Her father's name was Peter Griffith, like Peter Griffin. Family Guy, man.
Nope. Cutting
Okay.
that out.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Should I continue?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Please, God.
So Carl says, like, "We got to get you out of here." He says, like, "I'm going to help you," basically,
Yeah.
because he just feels bad for this kid
Yeah.
who's stuck here. So Carl ends up basically breaking the bars in the window.
Yeah, what is that contraption he's
He like tied
He
it
just-
and like took a bar.
He just
Twisted it.
Yeah, he just took like a sheet, tied it around the bars,
Yep.
and then twisted them
With his
very
cane.
tightly.
So they would
With his
bend.
cane.
Yeah, wow.
That was
Yeah.
Leverage.
Because he said he was an engineer.
Yeah.
So he knows how this stuff works.
It's a lot of strength.
Then Carl gives him
I
a
don't know.
thing of soap. It's like, just grease yourself up and slide out.
Yep.
So he does.
Oh, yeah.
Just his underwear.
He gets out and he
Just
falls on
little
the ground in his
tighties.
underwear and just starts running down the road.
Books it.
in his underwear.
Greased up.
But apparently it's
Yeah.
a small town, so it's okay. No one stops him.
No one notices him, at
Yep.
least.
And he ends up basically getting down towards the docks and then kind of hiding from people, and he ends up climbing in a boat just to hide from the daylight.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, we see Tyler is trying to sell crab, and the guy's like, the fish guy is like, "I can't buy from you. You're not licensed. This is illegal." And now, like, I know that you're destroying other people's stuff, so now I'm gonna get in trouble. So I can't help you anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well," and the guy's just like, "Get out of here. Like, you're not wanted here." So he goes back towards the docks, and then we see, I think this is where we see the first flashback of him and his brother, and they're just at the bar
Yeah.
having a beer.
Yeah.
And now he's sad.
John Barenthal.
Yeah. Getting
And-
that easy paycheck with no lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a deal.
So he goes back towards the docks, and we meet Duncan and his good buddy Rat Boy,
Oh, yeah, Rat Boy.
That boy.
who you know he's a bad guy because he has a face tattoo.
Oh, he's got a lot of tattoos.
Mhm.
They basically stop him and say, like, "Stop destroying my stuff." And then they kind of rub in his face and say, "There's only so many licenses around here. This one used to have your brother's name on it. Now it's got my name on it, so you can't do it anymore." And then
Dicks.
he takes a swing, misses. They beat him up a little bit, spit in his face, which is so gross,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and literally rub his face in the dirt.
So, yeah, they really fuck him up.
So he goes and kind of gets himself cleaned up, and then apparently has had enough. So he grabs a thing of gas and essentially lights all of Duncan's fishing gear They end up saying $12,000 worth of gear.
Burns it all.
Just burns it, and then jumps in his boat, which of course barely starts because it's a movie.
Yep.
And speeds off. So they get in their boat and they chase him, but he ends up hiding in the tall grass and like
gets
Gets away.
Yeah, I was surprised how they didn't notice him.
yeah.
Oh, that grass can be pretty tall.
Yeah.
He ducked down.
Yeah.
Just low to the ground.
Yeah, that was the least believable part of this whole
There was
entire movie.
later. There's one part that I
there's
really didn't
one
believe.
part at the end I hated, and I think it's probably the same.
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, it
At
was
the-
so unbelievable.
at the
that-
very end?
Yeah, the very,
Okay.
very end.
Well,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
like the last like 15 minutes, there's part of it that's very unbelievable.
Oh well, yeah, okay. But this was
It didn't ruin the movie. It was just if we're talking about the same thing. But
bless you.
Thank you.
While we are in the boat hiding, he hears something and he discovers there's a person on his boat. So he basically, at this point, though, just says like, "Shut up, don't talk," and like threatens to kill him. Basically,
Zach's throwing up.
yes.
Yeah.
he's sick because he booked it out of there.
Yeah.
It made him seasick. He barfs all over.
Yeah, that's right.
Shia LaBeouf. So,
So he's like, "Shut up," basically, and then they end up escaping. So he basically like finds a sandbar or something to park the boat, and he's like, and then he shoots holes in it and he's gonna sink it and go on land. And Zach just kind of follows him for a while, and so he's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you here?"
Please leave.
stop following me.
Yep.
And Zach gets nervous at one point when they're in like the shore because he's like, "I can't swim." So he basically just kind of lets this kid follow him, this guy follow him for a while. And he says, like, "This is where we split up. Like, we can't do this." And he goes to leave, and then he comes out of the store or something, and he sees that Zach is now up on, like, a dock or something, and there's a teenage kid, like a little kid, that's trying to make him jump off the dock.
He gets a ride from somebody, and the guy tells him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
guy
That's right,
tells
you're
him
right.
that there's
When
a
he
bunch
hitchhikes.
of yeah.
He's trying to
And he
get
says,
to
like,
Tries
town.
to get away from.
Yeah.
He's trying to like get into town, and then he hears over the
There's,
radio
like, roadblocks
about
everywhere.
it,
About
and
a
then-
Down syndrome person.
Yeah, that somebody's missing.
So
And-
he knows
And then
obviously.
the guy
it's-
talks about the roadblocks, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go."
And he
back."
doesn't want to get caught either because
He's
on
mostly
the-
worried he's gonna get caught.
Yeah.
At this point, he is. So he gets out and he goes back to where, and he just like heads back into where they were.
Yep.
And this is where, so he sees a kid like, and Zach's up on the thing going like, "I can't swim," and the kid's saying really mean stuff to him. He's like, "I don't care, jump, jump, jump." So he gets there just in time to see.
Calls him the R word at
He
least
does.
once.
Yeah. So Zach jumps off. Shia LaBeouf punches the kid in the face,
Which
Yes.
is great.
That was awesome.
So it's like a drive-by punch.
Run
Then-
by,
dives off, pulls him out, makes sure he's okay.
saves him.
And so he's like, "All right, you can follow me, but like, don't slow me down." And he's like, "And you're not wearing shoes. That's a problem." He gives him pants and boots and says, "If you're gonna follow me," or is this before or after he goes in the store and meets?
Before. Yeah.
So he says, "The first rule is don't slow me down. The second rule is you have to carry your weight," and gives him a book bag. And then this made me laugh real hard. He's like, "What is the first rule?" And Zach goes, "Party."
And so he amends it. He's like, all right, that's the first rule. What's the second rule?
Yeah, he just changes it like, fair. We will party. Okay.
Oh, man.
So they're walking, and he says to Zach, like, "Do you have like money? Like, do you have anything?" And he's like, "No, I got nothing." So he's wearing boots and pants that don't fit. So he gathers the little bit of money he has, and he goes into the store and tries to get like some fishing gear, a jar of peanut butter, and some other stuff. And he doesn't have enough money to cover it.
And he just keeps taking stuff
You
off
just
the
keep-
counter.
yeah.
Like, all right, how about just that? All right, how about just that?
So basically, the dude feels bad for him and basically gives him a jar of peanut butter and
Jug of
and a
whiskey.
jug of, not even whiskey,
Moonshine?
moonshine,
Yeah.
homemade
Yeah.
moonshine.
You make that yourself? Yep.
Awful.
Yep. And then he drank it. He goes, "Yeah, you sure did." And then he tries to like give it back, and he's like, "I can tell that you need this more than I do." So before he can leave, disgusting looking, looks like he's not changed his clothes in 2 weeks. He's standing there talking, and
That's generous, 2 weeks.
yeah,
He looks
generous.
awful from the minute we see Shia LaBeouf. He looks like he's been through
Eleanor walks in. We had previously seen her have a brief conversation with her boss, who basically says, "Go find him, or don't make me have to report this to the state." And
We're
she
not
says,
reporting it.
"You
You're supposed to."
absolutely need to report this to a state. There's a 22-year-old with Down syndrome out there.
Yeah.
You absolutely need to report this." And he says, like, "You fix this. You go find him." So she's basically going door to door, like looking for him.
Yeah.
Goes into the store, and the shopkeeper says, like, "No, I've not seen him." And Shia LaBeouf just straight up lies, and he's like, "Why are you looking for
And
him?"
immediately
Like,
he's just like, ooh,
well,
sexy lady.
yeah,
He doesn't
I'd say,
lie though.
Yeah,
He's like
he never answers the question.
That's
He
true.
says,
He
"How
just starts
much
hitting
money
on
do
him.
I get if I know where he is?"
yeah.
She's like, "What?"
Yeah,
no
there's
money. There's no bounty on him.
Are you a bounty hunter? He's like, "No."
I just told you there's no money for him.
It's like weirdly creepy to her.
Oh yeah.
And he hits on her, and she doesn't seem too interested, and she flips him right off before she leaves.
Well, I mean, would you be interested in Shia
absolutely not.
LaBeouf?
Well,
Oof.
Shia LaBeouf maybe, not his character.
Unshowered Shia LaBeouf or freshly clean.
So Shia LaBeouf.
Would you rather have
'Cause he
sex
says,
with
like-
me or a very clean Todd Barry or a disgusting, filthy, filled with shit, rolled around the mud Brad Pitt?
So he says, like, "Well, if I know where it is, you got a phone number I can call you on," and just like creeps her right out until she leaves. Then he goes back to Zach and he's like, "So you got a story too? Like, we're on the run together, and now they're fast friends.
Yeah, we're a
Now
couple
they're pals. They're
of bandits.
Yep. So he basically says, like, "Listen, I'm not doing this as charity, but I'm going to Florida. You want to get to this wrestling school? You told me where it is. It's on the way. So I'm going to get you there, and then I'm going my own way."
And you're right. It is the Florida Keys.
Oh, it's the Florida Keys? Okay.
Yeah, it's that they're traveling down, or not the
Outer Banks?
Outer Banks.
Yeah, that's North Carolina then.
yeah.
So they, we see him kind of just traveling around, and he like tries to help him learn how to swim. He teaches him how to shoot a gun, which is he's very bad at, and he gets knocked over, which is pretty funny.
He gets thrown
Yeah.
so far.
He doesn't teach him the proper way
He
to
should
shoot a
have.
gun.
The first time. The second time, yeah.
You're supposed to take the butt of the gun and put it inside your arm.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
got it flying in the breeze.
So he gets him up, and he's like, he teaches him a little bit better, and he shoots like 3 bottles at the same time. He's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Yeah, it's buckshot." Then we see him. They got to cross the river. He's like, "It's the only way. We got to do it." So he gives him like, he basically takes a bag and pants and turns it into like a floating device.
Yeah.
Which you can
Like,
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. And he's like, "I'm gonna tie a rope around me and drag you. You got to kick your feet." They get halfway across, and a boat comes.
Giant
So-
ass ship.
Yeah.
shrimping
Kick your
boat.
legs. Yeah, a big old shrimping boat. So Shia makes it across and has to like just turn around and start pulling the rope. And
Zach.
Zach
Almost
barely
gets-
escapes, but he does. And then his only reaction is like, "Well, that's a story."
Yeah.
They're talking about how they're going to have a story at the end of this and all that. So he's not mad even a little bit. Do they run into the bad guys first, or do they get baptized? I forget. The first encounter with the gun.
They get baptized,
Baptized.
first
Yeah.
because
'Cause the first time Zach sees the bad guys. Oh no, they've already seen the bad guys once.
because she's there.
Because
when
he
the
asked
bad guys show up.
he asked
Yeah.
them about the bad guys, but then the first time that they actually get like trapped by the
yeah.
bad guys was
Everything
after.
with the gun happens.
So yes, they end up running into a blind gentleman, crazy guy down
They
by
try
the
to
river,
steal his boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
because they decide we need to get on the water. This is too
And then
so
he
unlike.
start
has a
moving
gun
faster,
and
yeah.
just starts firing it off.
Yes, he's
Almost
blind.
hit
He's
Shia
blind.
LaBeouf,
Yeah,
too.
he's pretty close.
Yep. So he says, like, "You can't have my boat, but you can have anything else here."
Considering I just shot my boat.
I like when he goes, "Y'all black or white?" Like, "We're white." And he goes, "I knew it. I could smell you from a mile away."
Yep.
What'd you just drop?
No, I screwed up Bill's.
Oh,
Oh boy.
Jeez.
ruined the show.
they first Zach gets baptized in the river, gets dunked in the river.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
can have everything if I baptize you.
So he does, and he says basically you can have anything else you want. So they build a makeshift raft with just
Yeah.
the stuff they find around
Regular
the thing,
Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn.
Yep.
and they kick off sailing down the river.
What was the guy in? No, I shouldn't bring that up.
Nope.
No, you
Nope.
should not.
Nope.
You should not bring him.
Nope.
It was Jim.
It was Jim, and
Yep.
you just brought it up.
That scene kind of reminded me of the Red Dead Redemption part where he's building the house and it plays the song.
Oh,
Redemption, like that, building the house and whatever that was.
That good song.
Yeah.
So
Or
they
that
end
part
up,
where John Marston builds the house.
Oh, John
Spoilers.
Marston's building a house.
Spoilers.
No,
At the
not
very
John
end.
Marston.
Yeah.
yeah, at the very end.
At the very end.
Marston.
When they're
The
in
end
New
of-
Austin.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's
He buys the
Marston
materials
building a
and then you
house.
have to,
I was
like,
thinking, I
build the
forget-
house
I totally
and it's-
forgot about.
Plays that cool song.
What was the dude's
I
name?
did-
Roger?
Like, I always kind of
No, not
kept
Roger.
Oh, the guy
sound
that
on
lives with
silent.
No.
It was a good-
guy
the
who
music is
dies
great.
In Red Dead. Who's the guy who died?
Spoilers. My God.
Roger?
It's not
No.
Roger.
It's not Roger.
Robert?
Wow. What a.
The main character of the game.
You don't even know.
Rob-
None of us know his name. Not a single one.
I
of us.
know. I just don't want to tell you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Ronnie?
It's not Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Is it R?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think that
No.
Mike is making me think it is. I mean, there's 3 computers open as we speak, but
Oh no.
John No.
No.
Yeah,
John Marston? No.
Red Dead 2. There we go. It's Arthur Morgan.
Arthur.
Nowhere close to R. Ronald R. Ronnie James Dio.
Arthur. Arthur.
Oh boy, this thing is already
So, okay.
in a weird place.
After they build a raft, they sail down the river for a while. They pull off the river that night, and they,
Well, he's also training him, right? To like,
Yes.
yeah.
he's making him do push-ups and stuff.
Trained to be a risk.
And so he's trying to like lift a log to throw it in the fire, and he says like, I can't do it. And so he says to Zach, well, you need a persona, that's all. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well,
If you're gonna be a wrestler,
Saltwater redneck wasn't born saltwater redneck.
yeah.
so he says like, what do you want your name to be? And he just goes, Falcon. He's like, oh, yep, that's the one.
Yep, good name.
So he goes
I
and
mean,
like,
it is.
he
Good
finds like branches to make him wings and stuff. And as Falcon, he's able to lift the heavy thing and throw it in the fire. And so they start celebrating. And then he paints his face with peanut butter.
He needs
And
war
ash.
paint.
Yeah.
He starts putting
You
he
need
starts
war-
putting ash
War
on.
paint.
And then Zach's like, no, I want peanut butter.
So then it becomes the peanut butter Falcon.
Yep.
Fucking great.
And then he gets real drunk.
Oh yeah.
And
Hey.
they both pass. Well, they both do.
They drink a whole jug of moonshine and pass out.
So they pass out. And the next morning, Eleanor kind of stumbles upon them in her
Yeah,
search.
very
Because she's
luckily.
been following. She's hot on their trails somehow.
Yeah.
Hot on their trails.
and they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're going down the Outer Banks, so I guess you can't really get lost too much.
This is like a dead end road where she just pulls up and there they are.
Yeah,
lucky.
So she says, like, Zach, you need to come home. Everyone's, like, searching for you. You have to come. And Tyler says, like, no, he's with me. He's got to go to this
He
wrestling
doesn't
school.
have to go.
So they end up saying, like, listen, he just wants to go to this wrestling school. Then you can have him. But I told him I'd get him there. I'm not breaking my promise. So she kind of agrees, but then he also, like, throws her keys into the water.
Yeah,
Zach
during-
does.
Yes.
Before she can, she's like, okay, well, I get what you're saying, but you know, it's not going to happen. And
But I'm an adult.
Zach's like, nope.
Throwing
your keys in-
Throw car keys into the river.
Throwing your keys in the water. See ya.
So now she's on the raft with him, and all of a sudden she's cool with all this. She's no longer seems to be too upset
just
about
I
gave-
would
this.
not want to be on that raft.
Yeah, why wouldn't she just not go? I don't know.
Like, oh, thankfully I have this spare key.
So they start arguing.
She has a
about-
cell phone still.
well,
but it's not working where they are.
Yeah,
It's true.
Because she tries to, and it doesn't work.
Yep.
So then they start arguing about Zach. So he makes during his training exercises, he's like, "We're gonna do hold your breath." And
Oh,
he basically
this is
says
funny.
like, "Dunk your head under water."
Yeah.
And then he does, and Tyler says to Eleanor, like, you need to stop calling him a retard. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And she gets very flustered, and she's like, I have never called
Yeah, I
anyone
didn't-
that
I
way.
didn't say that.
Yeah.
And then he pops his head back up, and he's like, how'd I do? And Tyler's like, you did pretty good. And then Eleanor goes, not good enough. Do it again.
because she was not. She was treating him kind of like, oh, he can't take care of himself.
Yeah, she's
that's
like
what
an
Tyler
case
said.
manager.
And Tyler,
almost.
yeah, and
Tyler
Tyler's
says
like,
that.
no, he's a grown man. He can take care of
Yeah, and
himself.
you're not allowing him to.
Yeah.
Like, you are holding him back.
Yeah.
And so they kind of argue about that, and she sees the light, I guess,
Yeah.
even
I
though
guess.
she's like the social worker.
This weird fisherman, homeless man is making sense.
And he catches a fish.
Oh my
Right.
god, that was so
And he's
great.
down.
And he bare hand pulls a fish out of the water.
What is that? What's that? Noodling? Was he noodling?
Yeah, apparently it was noodling.
No, that's noodlings with catfish.
Noodling is when you stick your hand like in catfish holes and hope they bite your hand.
Just grabbed a fish and ripped it out of the water.
Oh man.
Tyler's so excited too. He's like, "Oh shit!
Yeah.
Look what I got!"
And she's like, "Did you catch that with your bare hands?" No. What the fuck else did he catch it with?
And Tyler takes it like, you just caught dinner, and then takes the fish and just smashes it on the boat to kill it.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
I know.
Smacks its head on the boat.
Kind of reminded me of Smeagol from The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Smash it. I know that's not a Bill
I
reference.
don't know what that's
Bill doesn't know.
I
what
know
that is.
Smeagol, but I don't remember her being from a movie.
Now, if you reference Jane Eyre, Bill will get
I'm
that
only a chapter
reference.
into Jen Eyre. I don't know that.
He's
much
only one
about it.
chapter in. Yeah, come on.
I'm gonna
If you
read it,
reference
Keep your references
an
to
old English King Arthur
Yeah.
book, he's got it.
18th century women's literature.
I'm sorry, Mike, for being cultured.
Oh.
So they pull over again that night, and they find like a little shack they can hide in for the night. And at one point, Tyler goes outside, and Duncan and Ratboy are waiting for him and pull a gun on him. And they say like,
Because they set their raft on fire.
"Oh yes,
Burn the raft.
burn the raft." And then they hold him down, and they say like, "You ruined $12 grand worth of stuff you owe us for. I'm going to shoot you in the hand."
Yeah.
And Zach comes storming out of with the shotgun, and they're like, "Do you know how to shoot that?" And he just goes, "It's buckshot." So they like scurry away, but they're not done with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Which I would take the bullet in the left hand over, what happens to him later.
That's true.
Yeah, it wasn't presented as a choice.
Yeah, it's not like, well, later on, what's going to happen is.
Yeah. Right.
Well, they did. Like the very beginning, he did say, "Next time you mess with me, I'm going to take a tire iron to your head."
That's true.
Oh, well.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Also, he won't be able to fish easily because you got to work with your hands if
that's
you've been
true.
shot in
That's
the hand.
fair.
Yeah.
And it causes serious damage. You're not going to be able to fish.
Yeah, okay, good point. Good point.
So they end up making it down to where the wrestling school is supposed to be, and they stop in there in like a little diner eating. And he asked the waitress there, like, "Do you know Saltwater Redneck?" She's like, "Yeah, everybody does. He used to be a big deal around here." And so they end up getting an address for him. So they go to check him out. Are they in a car at this point? Or are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did they get the car from? They don't show that.
Or no, I don't think they. I think
The
they get
cab?
it after somehow. I think they just
Yeah,
they make
after
it to
the-
the town.
Yeah.
Because she also calls her
Oh, no, they
supervisor too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
I'm bringing
diner.
I'm bringing him back tomorrow.
In the diner. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get an address and they go to the wrestling school, and it's just
It's so
trailer.
long ago it doesn't exist.
it's just a trailer. So they knock on the door and they say like, "I'm looking for Saltwater Redneck," and Clint, some guy named Clint, opens the door and is like, "Brother, that's been closed for like 10 years."
Yeah.
And he says like, "Well, my friend here is watching a tape." He's like, "That's a real old tape." He's like, "Well, will you just like meet him? Can you just like go shake his hand or something?" So Clint says like, "Yeah, no problem." And so he does, and they get to meet, and and so the group goes to leave, and they get a little way down the road, and
Well, they're all got. Zach doesn't.
No, they're walking. They don't have a car.
Yeah, they
Zach.
Yeah. They still don't have a car yet.
He says hi to Zach, but Zach is unconvinced that it's really him because he doesn't have any of
and
his
he wore
gimmicks
paint and all
on.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, okay.
He's
Zach's
just a
just
guy.
like this.
So
is just
whenever
a guy.
I think he actually says to Tyler when they're walking down the hill, like, so when are we gonna meet him? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what was that? He didn't understand that he
And
was
then-
out of gimmick.
Yes. So as they're walking away disappointed, Eleanor found out they're going to put him in like a drug center, like a
Yeah,
drug
like a-
recovery place, like.
a worse place than a retirement
Yeah.
center.
And she's like, "You can't do that." Like, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, that's where we're going to put him because he ran away twice, so he needs to be like locked up essentially."
And the guy's basically saying it's her fault because she labeled him a flight risk,
yeah.
Right.
which kind of sucks for her. But
So as we're walking down the road, we see a souped up car from the 80s, an old muscle car,
Oh yeah.
Trans Am, I
flying down the
believe?
road,
Yeah, with rock and roll playing.
and it's saltwater redneck.
He's all gimmicked.
Yep.
The face paint, a hat.
So he says, like, I'll teach you some wrestling, basically. So they go to start training, and this is where we first meet his good friend, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Apparently,
was his name? Sam.
Jake?
Sam.
Sam.
Jake Roberts, I think. He's playing himself. And they go to start teaching him, and he wants to learn to throw. And so that's the first time that Clint, Saltwater Redneck, is like, well,
Breaks
it's actually
kayfabe.
like
Yep.
the
Yeah.
TV. I don't really do that.
I
Yeah.
never did that.
I never did it.
It was
They
a
like
camera trick.
cut away. Yeah.
So he says, like, but you know what? We got so they train for a couple hours, presumably. It's like, well, we got a thing coming up
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. Why don't you wrestle in that?
Yeah. We've trained you for 5 minutes. Why don't you have a
Backyard
match?
wrestling.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a match?
It is backyard wrestling, so who cares? But obviously, Eleanor is like, nope, this is a terrible idea. You're going to put him in there with this giant man. No.
After
Chain smoking weirdo.
5 hours of pretend
Yeah.
Yeah, not even real training.
training. Yeah.
So the next day, they're going to do the match anyways, and Eleanor's freaking out, but they're sitting in the car, but obviously she's falling in love. Because
Mhm.
this is where I don't... At what point would she actually start to have feelings for this dude? This is the part to me that makes no sense in this movie is...
Well, he's
yeah.
shown a couple times that he actually
Yeah.
does care about
Yeah, I
Who
know.
him.
cares about him?
So she doesn't hate him, perhaps,
Yeah.
but I don't think she falls in love with
Smooth
him.
operator.
That's true.
He's Shia
We,
LaBeouf.
we do get her little backstory earlier
Right.
on.
Right, about
Of
she's
a
she
widower.
lost her. Yeah, she's
Oh,
a
yeah,
widow.
that's true.
Tattoo with
Widow.
a name.
She's not a widower. She's a widow.
What's a widow word then?
A
guy.
male who
A
loses
male.
his wife.
Oh, okay, I'm
Her
sorry.
husband died. What did he die from?
I don't think she said.
Oh, he died.
Yeah.
But then,
Not
did
being a
Shia
wrestler.
LaBeouf tell her what happened? Did we ever talk about what happened?
Oh, we didn't, because we keep seeing
that.
flashbacks.
We see
Yeah.
that flashback of what happened.
They're drunk at the bar.
Yeah, he and his brother are getting drunk together.
Right.
Yeah. They're driving home. Shia LaBeouf falls asleep behind the wheel and crashes.
We assume.
We assume they don't
Yeah.
show it, but we
Yeah.
see him start to veer off the road asleep.
Yeah.
And then his brother's gone and he's still here.
And that's literally the last flashback that we get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he killed his
He
brother.
killed his brother when they were out drinking one night.
Wow, that flashback was pretty early on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why he's down on his luck and so sad.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Eleanor is pretty lonely too. Her husband died, and so he leans in to give Eleanor a kiss, and then actually just uses it to handcuff her to the steering wheel, and then hops
Some
out. So he
sexy,
can-
sexy cuffs.
yeah, some sexy cuffs. Because now they are in someone's car.
They're
They're
in
in,
Redneck.
Oh, the redneck
Saltwater's
car.
car.
Yeah.
And
And he-
did we talk about the scene where they're driving to the match and they're all in the car?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
just Jake
Yeah.
and Sam, Jake
Yeah.
the Snake's is just sitting there silently like a
Just-
monster while
just
everyone's
off
like
in the back,
screaming.
and they're all
Yeah.
doing the wrestling yell, like, ah! That was a fun scene.
So Sam gets out and he goes to be to second the Peanut Butter Falcon, basically. So Jake Roberts comes out to the ring, and everybody knows and
I
loves
like
Sam.
how
Yeah.
he's wrestling in a t-shirt and like sweatpants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, we do get a cool pump up scene where Zach is doubting himself, and Tyler's like, "No, not now. You can do this. I want to hear you say it." Like, I like that scene.
He's
I
like,
don't know.
I can do this. Like, what?
the fuck is
Come
that?
on, you came all this way.
Make me believe it.
There was a scene I think they're on the raft. That's where I almost cried, was when, I forget what the setup for it was, but Zach says to him, I'm going to give you all my birthday wishes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
And Mick Foley all of a sudden appears as the referee.
Referee.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like, what?
That
Jake the
was,
Snake kind of fits in a little bit.
was
but-
that the
I
thing
don't
that took
know.
you out of it?
So does
no,
Mick
no,
Foley.
no. The one problem I had
Foley
is coming
fits
up.
in with his beard.
Mick
and
Fo-
everything.
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's fine.
It's not like he's playing Mick Foley.
So meanwhile, a guy is standing there, and he calls up Duncan when we have met him earlier in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he says "Hey,
Oh yeah,
I'm
that
at
fat
this
dude
wrestling thing."
who's just like
He's just there.
When during the scene earlier when we see him, he's just sitting on the pickup truck, being like, "Yeah,
Fuck
beat
him
his
up.
ass,
Fuck him
Yeah.
up.
fuck him up,
Yep.
fuck him up."
So he calls Duncan. He's like, "Hey, he's here at this wrestling thing I'm at." So Jake Roberts comes out in a sweatpants.
Where are you? A wrestling thing? Who's that?
Down in Eden. Why the fuck are you down in Eden at a wrestling thing?
The Peanut Butter Falcon comes out and he's got cardboard.
Oh yeah, this is
Gear
very
on.
funny.
They got that sweet cardboard set up on real
They
quick.
did.
Yeah.
It's a good setup. Crowd does not know what to do, but then he ends up drawing them in,
Yep.
and they are very into the Peanut Butter
Babyface.
Falcon.
He
by
turns
the time he
babyface.
gets in.
He's a full
Which is funny because earlier in the movie he says he wants to be a heel.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
he says,
I want to be a bad guy.
Tyler says,
well,
like,
hey,
you
he
can't
wants
be.
to be like
got a
saltwater.
good
Vic.
heart.
I think that's the setup to your crying moment.
I think you're
Yes.
right. Because he says, like,
It's like,
you're a
no,
good guy.
you're a good guy.
Like, I can tell you're a good guy. You're not a bad guy. Because he wants to be a bad guy because he thinks nobody likes him, basically.
Because his family left.
right,
and his
right.
family
that,
left him
that
alone.
makes you a
so.
bad guy.
And then he asked Shia LaBeouf, like, are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? Shia's like, I don't know.
Can't answer.
And he's
What
like,
do
I
you
think you're a good
think?
guy. And then, I think you're right. And that's when he says, like, I'm going to give you my birthday wishes.
damn.
Feels.
So we get.
We
start
rarely
the
get the
match.
feels on this show.
This is
I
such
know.
a good movie.
It is a very good
So-
movie.
Very good movie.
Jesus.
And Jake Roberts, of course, true to life, is stretching the boy with Down syndrome.
Yep.
And is
Yep,
just like.
and he's not.
And then he starts going.
He's
starts
off
to shoot.
script. He's off script.
Starts
Yep.
going. He starts wrestling.
shooting
shoot.
on him.
He's shooting on
Worked
him.
his way into a shoot, brother.
Worked his way into a shoot.
But they're still just encouraging. Tyler's just encouraging him, saying, like, you can do
Get
this.
up,
Get
Jack."
up. Get up. Meanwhile, Eleanor's in the car trying to get herself out and sees Duncan and Rat Boy show up. So she's trying to yell, but it's too loud. Nobody can hear her. So they're coming, and you see a tire iron as they approach the ring. And then all of a sudden, in like one big flurry, you see her break out of the car and come screaming.
She like saws the. She finds like scissors or something. And cuts,
I think, pliers.
something.
Pliers,
Cut-
I think, yeah.
Cuts herself loose.
So she comes running to try to warn him. You see Duncan come flying, swinging a tire iron. In the ring, Zach picks up Jake Roberts over his head and
nuts.
throws him about 20 feet in the air.
This was
Hey,
weird.
this is the
This
part
is
you
the
didn't
part I didn't like.
This is
There was
He's
there was
so-
setup for this though.
They did say
There was a lot of setup throughout the
He was
movie.
strong.
I'm glad he
did
picked
say
him up
how
over
strong
his.
he was.
I'm glad he picked him up over his head and threw him out of the ring and all that. But
Yeah.
it was so high and giant.
Well, I think
Jake the
they're-
Snake Roberts body
I
double,
think it was supposed to be a bit exaggerated.
25 feet in the air,
Absolutely supposed to be
so
exaggerated.
high in the air.
Hey, he
'Cause
did what
when they bet-
saltwater redneck.
Never could.
Yeah.
when they bet the bars early in the movie, the guy's like, "Well, you've seen how strong he is," and when Sam,
Sure.
not Sam,
I'm not
Tyler.
I'm not
Tyler.
saying he couldn't do a gorilla press.
pulls him out of
He
the.
says, you're stronger than most adults I know.
Yeah, 'cause
most
he-
like
he-
grown-ups I
but-
know or whatever.
When
Zach helped him up,
When a
yeah.
very large Jake the Snake body goes like
So at least
so
they,
high in the air.
but at least they
Like,
set it
There's
up.
a nice arch.
At least
the
they
hell?
set it up.
And as he goes flying, the tyrant comes down and
Yeah.
presumably he's dead.
cracks.
You also see
Shia LaBeouf in the
her running through the wrestlers. So I really like when they showed him in the next scene by himself. I really thought he threw Jake the Snake onto her.
I
And
thought that
Tyler got killed.
I thought for a second that he was going to throw Jake the Snake onto the two guys running in,
No.
Oh,
They hit him.
but no.
yeah.
So then we get at the end, we see Zach sitting in the hospital. Eleanor's crying. And a doctor comes in to deliver some kind of news, and it looks like it's the worst news.
yeah.
Now, this is where I was like, all right, I know it's a feel good. I'm glad it ends well.
Yeah.
But she now is driving to Florida. She has decided not to take.
Well, they show
Zach home.
he has a birthday cake too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
A birthday.
Or is that a
in the
cupcake,
hospital.
Is
yeah.
that like a dream thing?
No, I think
No.
that's in the hospital. He
Yeah.
has a
He has a
birthday
birthday cake and he
Birthday
blows out
cupcake.
the candles.
Yeah.
By himself.
So we're in a car driving, and it is clearly not back to where they're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
They're
Because she
going to
wakes.
Florida.
She says, "Like Zach, look, we're in Florida now, which is
Yeah.
where Tyler wanted to go."
Right. And we assume that Tyler is dead.
Throughout
Yes.
the whole movie, they're building towards like Tyler and Zach are probably not going to split up.
Right.
And then they bring her in, and they're also building towards her like rebelling against where she's working because the work doesn't give a shit about Zach.
Yeah, but kidnapping is not the way to go about it.
And they're also building towards her and Tyler having a relationship. So you kind of saw it going towards, all right, well, she's not going to bring him back.
I know,
You just,
but
you
there's
just know.
other things you do besides just like go on the lam. But
That's
regardless, it's a nice
Anyway,
ending.
that's what they do.
Yep.
So she says we're in Florida, and he reaches over and like hits Tyler, who's laying in the back seat all bandaged up,
All
and says like,
fucked
"Hey,
up.
we made it to Florida," and they do their. Oh yeah, we never talked about the secret handshake.
Yeah, they
Oh,
have a
yeah.
fun
Oh,
secret
yeah.
handshake.
Tyler and Zach have a secret handshake, but only for the big moments. They're not
Yep.
just going to do it all the time.
They did it when they got shot at. They did it when they almost got run over by the shrimping boat.
Yep.
And they did it when Eleanor finds them the one time.
Yes.
Oh, when they're eating the peanut butter fish.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
right. Yeah.
Apparently, that's a big thing.
Peanut butter fish.
So they're the three of them now are gonna, I guess, start their lives over in Florida.
Yeah.
It's a very happy ending.
It is good. I like it.
I really thought he had accidentally killed Eleanor,
Oh,
and then
man.
Tyler was also dead.
Full dark.
I thought it was going
man.
full dark. I was like,
I was
oh,
like,
Jesus
bro,
Christ.
This is gonna take a real
Oh, Jesus
But
Christ.
no, it actually is a real happy ending.
Yeah.
Which this was a very good movie.
I think I
very
would
much
have.
enjoyed this.
very
I think I
good.
would have been okay with Tyler
They could have
dying.
gone many times. They could have gone really cheesy,
No,
really
never,
lame.
It never got
Yeah.
cheesy.
No.
And it did it, like, especially the part where, like, after Redneck is like, no, or what, you could have gone something dumb there. Like
Even
them
when
going back.
he drove down in his full gear, it was still fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Very
Did
good.
this get nominated for awards? I feel like it should have
I don't think so.
Not
When did
like
this
the
come
big
out?
ones. It did get
last year.
nominated for awards, but it was for like it got a lot of
Like
hype for
film festival kind of awards.
Yeah. film
and also
festival
for
stuff.
like groups that work with like the mentally handicapped and stuff.
Yeah.
Very much like this.
18 wins. Austin Film Critics, Directors Guild of America, Outstanding Directorial and First Time Feature was
Oh, this is their
nominated.
first movie that they've done.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Hawaii
Crested
Critics-
Butt Film Festival.
Hollywood Critics Association winner for Newcomer Award for
Where's the
Zach.
Butte, you douche.
Butt.
Best First Feature.
Ooh, the Greater Western New York Film Critics Association.
Oh,
National Board of Review, top 10 independent films. That's big. That's
Hollywood
big, right?
Critics Association gave Zach the.
and what is it?
newcomer award.
97%.
Won the
on,
Audience
Rotten Tomatoes?
Award at South by Southwest Film Festival.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I would recommend anybody.
Oh,
watch
yeah.
it. It's really
I think
good.
this might be the best movie that we watched.
Maybe.
like critically, yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Like,
The
is
Wrestler's up.
is it going to be like a fun jaunt that I want to continue
Well,
to
yeah,
watch
you-
over and over again?
But like,
I don't know.
The best movies are kind of sometimes the ones that you can't just keep watching over and over.
This reminded me a little bit.
true.
I mean, it was a whole different storyline, but of Mud, a Matthew McConaughey movie that came out a bunch of years ago.
I remember seeing trailers. I
was good.
I didn't see that.
It was also good, but it was in that case, it's just like a regular weird adult who's getting legit bounty hunted. But also like in the backwoods of the South.
Very good. Very interesting. Good movie. Go watch
yeah,
it.
great.
And it was only
I
like
Shia LaBeouf
96
was
minutes or
good.
something.
Yeah.
What's the kid's name who plays Zach again? It's really
His
good.
name is Zach. It was Zach G. I cannot pronounce it.
Gottsagen.
He is great. I
Yeah,
would love to
he's
see him do
terrific.
something else.
And yeah.
That's the only thing he's been in so far.
yeah, it'd be great.
He's in one 2020 movie that he's a cheerleader or something, or that maybe that's the movie.
All right.
yeah.
Well, I would love to see him in more stuff because he was really good.
Mhm.
All right, who's up next?
Is it me?
I don't know. It
I
is
think
not
it's
me.
me. I think
Yeah,
it's
I don't-
you.
Is it you?
What
It
did we
went
watch?
me,
think
then
so.
Bill.
Look it up.
Who? Oh, because we restarted. So
We went out
did-
of order because you weren't here the one week. So.
Yes.
We did Dynamite Cruise, the Punisher movie, so it's not me.
So then it's you. Then, Mary.
NWA Power. That was you then, right?
NWA Power is me. So
Yeah,
is it
so
me
it's
or is
you.
it Mike?
It's you,
All right, I have three
And
options.
that's you, Wally.
and then it's me.
I have three options. Well, I guess I have. I don't know. One, I'm not sure if it's a whole episode, but I
So
thought
we're just going around the table this way.
it's fine. All right, I got three options. You tell me. Everyone's just gonna say you pick. But
It's your choice.
do you want to watch an XFL game?
A little bit.
No.
A 2001 XFL game?
Oh,
definitely
no.
The OG XFL or a new XFL?
New XFL. Let's watch a new XFL.
All right, so the three choices are new XFL game,
Okay.
which I would have to watch this weekend at
Yeah,
some point.
okay. Seems like it'd be like 3 hours.
Option number 2, or you could watch an old game.
No.
Option number 2 is trivia, just a trivia show.
I do like that.
No required watching at all. No required preparation.
I like that.
It's the 3 of you battling in trivia.
We've done
Oh,
smaller
man.
versions of this.
A full hour of trivia.
That's a full hour of me making an ass out of myself.
Well, I would
I'm
tailor
into
it
that.
so you could.
Taylor, I don't want nothing Taylor.
I would
don't want
tailor
him
it
to
so
be
you
like,
might.
what's Carly Lloyd's?
No.
mother's
I'd be
name?
like
it's about wrestling.
Hulk
I would
Hogan-
just get the easiest
Hulk
questions.
Hogan in this movie that you watched while he played this character. What was like that kind of stuff.
Underlips.
Or I don't know if this is a whole episode, so maybe it doesn't make sense. But I just got this book for Christmas called Movies and Other Things, and there's a chapter in it about The Rock. If The Rock would make a movie better or worse.
That's interesting.
And it's a very interesting chapter in the book.
Worse.
But
Answered.
that would require none of you to do any work. I would just propose The Rock is better or worse in this movie.
I feel like I have to read this chapter.
We could. I could send you the pictures of it, but yeah, those are my 3 options. So, do you want to watch a current XFL game, do a full trivia episode where you don't have to do any work, or do the book chapter thing, which I don't know if that's a full episode or not, but
I mean, it's your choice.
any of those strike
What do you want to
do? Stop doing that! I knew you were gonna do
I
that.
really,
You do
really,
it to me as well.
I really don't want to watch XFL.
Yeah, let's do the
I-
trivia.
Is there
Really
a chance
don't.
that
All right.
after like a couple weeks we can go like this might not be so terrible?
Could we do like
For
that?
XFL?
We
Yeah.
do maybe a quarter.
A quarter.
Maybe like
Oh, there's 4 of us. We can all watch one quarter
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
game.
because there's
I will
probably
commit 40 minutes of my Saturday.
there's probably no way that I'm going to be able to watch it live. So
It's definitely not going to be on demand
there's got to
It's
be
on ESPN, right?
and on Fox.
Okay, the Foxes I can do. With ESPN I actually cannot watch.
Let's do
all right.
trivia. I
So-
like-
Let's do XFL. Just oops, didn't get it done.
You're just not going to watch it. That's your new move. You turned into the new Wally.
Yeah, I only did that
Hey,
once.
I've watched everything this year.
I only
It's only
missed the
been
one.
like 3 weeks.
Shut up! I still watched everything this year.
All right, so trivia episode.
It's fine with me.
All right, we're gonna do a whole trivia episode, and I'm gonna put it all together.
That's
you
a
don't-
lot to put together for you.
It'll be fine. You don't have to do any work.
Awesome.
I'll try to
I got to bone up in my wrestling history.
toss some questions in there about the show, so the show history.
Oh, interesting.
So Wally can.
Still not have a chance?
Well, I mean, like movies we've seen.
Oh, okay.
Trivia questions involving movies we've seen.
So I'm going to have to
So
remember
like
what movies we've
HH.
seen.
What HH movies have we watched?
My plan moving
Christ.
forward is to just see which Kevin Nash movies we haven't watched. Just
Well,
kinda
there's
run down.
we've watched 9 of 16. So
Is that what
Have
you
we
guys figured
really?
out?
yes,
9 of 16.
I think it was like 9 of 16.
I'm surprised there's 7 we haven't seen then.
It was. It shocked me.
Unfortunately for me, I haven't had a chance to go back and watch Punisher, so I haven't seen that.
God.
It literally shocked me that. Oh, I forgot you didn't watch that shit either.
But I wasn't here that week.
Right. Still.
The Cruise one I actually did want to watch, and I just didn't have time.
All right.
Oh, so I'm better than Bill.
At the moment, you are. He's at 20%. You're at 30%. All right. That's it. Next week, trivia contest between these 3 J-Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And me.
3 Who's the 4th?
I just figured you're bad at math. I don't know.